and welcome. This is Elena with Angel Messages with Elena. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to do the waxing of the moon, which is from November 29th to December 9th, right? We got 9s on the horizon. A lot of completions that are being done right now. Now remember, the new moon was about, releasing things, is about the rebirth and death of one, but it turns around and it creates a new creation, a new creature. And they say a new creature in Christ, which Christ means the anointed one. Then we come into the waxing of the moon, and the waxing of the moon is childlike. It says you cannot enter the kingdom unless you become a child. So what that means is, that trust and the assurance that daddy or mommy is going to take care of me. There's no care in the world. There's playfulness, there's curiosity, there's learning. So that's, kind of like what is coming in here is like, even after all these months, is like there's still a part of us that's still learning. It's not until the full moon that we get to share those things, but that's part of transformation. That's part of our journey. I'm constantly learning new things. When you learning, energies, you're learning how to read those energies and what those energies are meaning. Sometimes the energies come to me 2 weeks in advance. Sometimes it's 3 days in advance. And then it's like I learned about them, and then I get to share it. That was part of my reading with somebody new, wanting to know if they have spiritual gifts. I do believe that everyone has spiritual gifts. I do believe there is a lot of us who are like myself, who has many different gifts. And may have all of the gifts and gifts that we don't even know of. So yeah, I believe everyone has a gift, a discernment, and into the spiritual energies that we are tapping into. So yeah, let's get started. Well, I'm using the Goddess Power Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. I love these, especially to the moon, because the moon is very feminine, and these Goddess Power decks, they really rises up into what's coming and how to perceive, and even how to verbalize the things that we're feeling. As children, it is really hard because we have so many emotions, and we don't even have the vocabulary for those kinds of emotions to express ourselves. And so that's why they're expressing tantrums or crying or hiding, because they're fearful, and they don't know, they don't have the understanding. So I also just kind of understand that we may be coming into a time where the understanding is being revealed, and it's constantly being revealed. I'm constantly being reminded that even the stories of the past, the spirits that have passed who had no voices, having a voice now, and now is the time for their stories to be heard, because it's time for us to start learning from them. So that's kind of exciting. I'm getting goosebumps right now because it's like I really hit a nerve out there into the energy world. And so I'll probably get a lot more energies coming to express themselves, because maybe they were so full of pain and hurt that they just didn't know how to express themselves. Right? We come from a time where children are not to be heard, they're only to be seen. And a lot of us carry that with our generations into where we're at now. Is like, yeah, we have something to say, but my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my uncles, whoever has always said not to say anything. And then when it was time to say something, it was so shy and put back that it's just like, no, you don't deserve to be heard. So now we're given those entities and those energies, they're to be verbalized, to find what their stories are, to find what their symbolisms and what it means to them, and how it's making a difference for us in the world. Just how like the Bible is written. Well, this particular Bible, it's been like thousands of years of compilations of oral stories that have been put together, and it still has an effect on us. Ancient texts, fairy tales, morals, and fables that give us that moral compass that we're still learning from them. So there's still so much to learn. So don't ever turn that side off of you. So since we are in the waxing of the moon, I read the waxing and the waning of the moons in reverse into the counterclockwise, which is divine masculine. These are things that are physically, tangibly, things that we can see with our eyes, touch with our fingers, that we can, hold in our hands, that are coming into the surface. And these could be people, it could be, the energies, it could be, like if you've been praying for many for a long time, that you're finally going to, probably see that many coming in. So in our north, we have Goddess Kali. She's of liberation. She's a 25 card, and the 25, I'm always reminded of Christmas and how that time is set aside. 25 is, the 2 is the feminine, with the 5 with the transformation that comes down into the 7, into, the liberator, the deliverer, the savior, those who come to, take us out from the pain and into liberty, into freedom, right? Come from, being bonded and slaves, and how we're coming out into this freedom. Really like that. So over her heart, she has, she's like protecting herself. And I think, the more open you become, your angels are going to protect you from your heart. So you don't have to have anything protecting, any walls anymore, because that's what our angels are here for. Our spirit spends so much time protecting ourselves, sometimes this sabotages. But once you bring that into awareness, then it's just like you can be more free. You can finally feel the bubbles in your heart of joy, and it just bubbles over. Just how I had my miracle last week. And I mean, I still feel bubbles from that. It was just so joyous and so, beautiful. And it was just like, how did God know, right? God is constantly proving himself to me, and proving herself to me, constantly, and knowing that I am a treasured daughter. So when you get into that knowing, into those intuitions, and you hear from God, and God hears from you, and you have this beautiful conversation, and it's just like all these numbers and all these symbols, and it's like, you know what it means. Nobody else knows, but you do. And it's kind of like you're this confidential conversation that is out in the world. I really feel that a lot of the biblical codes in the Bible is right on the surface, but no one's really putting it together because they're staying on the surface. They're not going into the reflection, which the daughter, the bride, the mother is a reflection of God. So it's really beautiful. All right, so then we come into Nike, into the north. The north is about within our own self, right? The balance of, the right, the from wrong, from divine feminine to divine masculine, right? The things that are just, belief and faith that is coming to fulfilled. The prophecy is fulfilled. So you got the right and the left there is all coming together. I really like the left side. This is like, how Jesus would put James and John on his right, but also on his left. So you kind of, to know that both sides is the perfect side. So you don't have to choose. If you're on the right side, you're constantly in that faith mode. If you're on the left side, you are actually being seen for who you are, right? People are actually seeing you. You're not believing that this person is coming because it's here, right? So yeah, those are the differences. And the Bible is so full of right and left information. So we have Nike that comes to the table. And ambition, right? It's an ambitious time. It's just, we're getting into walking into the blessings. And it's just like, you get motivated and you get ambitious. And it's just like, I want to do this. And it's like, we're so close to the end for something really beautiful, especially if you're a Capricorn like myself, who's gone through like 50 years of crap. It's just like, finally, it's opening up. things are finally working out, and not all these little things, but big and major things are start coming to the surface. So yeah, you want to come next week. I will have the 2020 predictions up general, and I'll be working on each of the zodiac sign 2020 predictions on MP3 that will be in my Etsy. So I'm so excited because 2020 is going to be a big breakthrough that makes all of us ambitious. So it's like, what is it? This is the time that, we wrote the things down in the new moon, what we want to change, or what the things we want and manifesting in your dreams. And so we're ambitious, and it's like, okay, angels, bring those opportunities, because I'm not going to turn down those opportunities. Whatever opportunities present themselves in the way that I want them to, I'm going to take them, right? So that's the ambition part of it. And then we have Ein, which is adaptability, and she's the number one in the one position. So that's just, the sinking. It's like everything is sinking, and that we cannot be rigid, cannot be stuck. So because I've been like in this financial crisis actually all year, but I still have love. I still have joy. I still have peace. Finally got rid of all of the mice, and it was eating one of my guidebooks. I had to move those things around, but it's just like, I'm not staying where I was. I'm not staying in this poverty and this poor level. That I really has risen up above it, and continuing just by doing my readings for my clients, and going out on YouTube and putting myself out there, and the gratitude that I'm getting, and how things are really spot on, right? They're right on. It's it amplifies who I am, and it's like the gratefulness I'm feeling from the universe and from God is like, the time is now to do into this learning process, because next year is even going to be stronger and brighter and more rewards. So we cannot stay in that rigid and down in this low level, but we need to keep rising above. Because if we stay down at this level, things are still going to be hard. But if you keep rising above, being adaptable, and we can, and this is the perfect time to start rising above it. So I have a Thanksgiving blessing, a Thanksgiving 39 minutes of inspiration from a reading that I did for you. Real reasonable price, $4.50 for 3 MP3s, and then you get a picture of the reading. And it's very inspirational. It helps you to find what is a miracle and what is a blessing. Do we want to live in the constant motion of miracles, or do we want to walk in those blessings? All right, and then we have, rounding up one, she looks like a lion, and I really feel that 2020 is Lion of Judah, that God to be praised, that God is going to be praised wherever we go in 2020, even more so than we ever expected or ever saw, is that God is going to be praised, because God is the inspiration for these writings, for the prophecies being fulfilled. So Leo is like, being in the spotlight. And it's just like, hello, I've been here all this time. I really feel Leo is, even presenting herself into the secrets, is that the secrets are being revealed. The truth is being exposed, and you're finding out where these interpretations and these codes that have been decoded and where they're coming from. And, that person is going to be rewarded, but also under God. Because I truly believe God put him and herself into many different bodies of culture for us to learn, right? To learn to be equal in unity. So yeah, if you're kind of stuck in that, just remember, we're being risen up. No longer are you going to be stuck into this downward motion. You're going to start coming back up into this even keel, where all of us are going to be on this same timeline. So now we're going into number 4, into order of our body, to business and success and college and studies, everything that is in the the outforce influence, but that's the physical and tangible, not the things that we believe, but the things that we can see. And I love this because our first card in the 4 position is Lakshmi, and she is about fortune and goodwill and just like this money, this what you've been praying for is coming tangibly, it's coming. So it's here, and you'll claim it. We're supposed to claim those rewards, because if we don't claim it right into the manifestation, then how are you going to achieve it? So everything that you have wanted for fortune, whatever your definition of fortune, good health, and for a stable lifestyle, or a lifestyle to bring you into something that's spiritual, something that brings you more family, all those things are coming, and they're coming really, really fast. All right, so and then we got a number 3 card, Aaron Rod, and it's about time. It's like, it's about time. It's about time. It's like, we're going to get that benefit now, toward this end of the year into the beginning of December, which I kind of feel that December should be the first of the year, because it's part of the new moon cycles. If you look at the cycles of the seasons, we can put every 3 months into the cycles of the moon. And so December is part of that cycle. So it's like the rebirth and the openness and the newness is coming. And so it's like Erin Rod, she is giving everything in its perfect timing. So you claim that time. Claim it right now, because this is the time to say, I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. I'm ready to be seen. Like, 8 years ago, there was a lot of spiritual things in October of 2011, where spiritual things was opening, and I was not in that mode, and I just said, I want it turned off. I want this part turned off. It was scaring me. I don't have support from family. I don't have friends that I can, talk to. So I didn't have that support to get me into, that I can do this. I mean, I've spent 7 years building up to talk to the world. And yeah, 7 years. Because, everyone is like, who do you think you are? And it's just like, this is my timing now. It's not who do I think I am? It's who I know I am. And I have a voice, and I have a interpretation and a story to tell, and it's my time. So claim that time. This is the time. If you need more time to get projects done, ask Aaron Rod to give you that time, because this is the time that we can change our timeline. We can jump to our timeline. We can jump into the future. We can jump into the past. We could stay in the present. This is the time. I mean, everything is kind of like going all over, but it's like you're going to be jumped into the perfect timeline, into the perfect clock, and the timing on there. And just like how Benjamin Franklin, on the number $1 in the clock tower, it says 222. I've been speaking about 222 for years, and how it's wisdom in action. And it's like, Proverbs is coming, but it's wisdom, and this woman is coming. So it's the perfect time. The time is now. So claim it. All right. Then we have Green Tara, and she is about salvation. Right? There's some of you that are just like, I just don't know how to do it. I believe. I just don't have enough will. I need someone to help me. All right. Definition of a savior is someone who takes the place of somebody else so that you don't have to pay for that price. Okay. So that's what salvation is. We are all given that salvation. So don't feel like you're being left behind, because all you have to do is just tap into that energies of that savior. Jesus come as a savior. He took the place of a woman, because the woman is in Revelations, is a mystery woman, but that mystery woman comes back into the Queen Esther, and Queen Esther, she saved her people, but it was Jesus the Son, which is also the interpretation of the lily, is because the lily is Susanna, took the place of the woman, so that the woman does not have to die. right? So what does that do? Is gives this woman extra powers and extra spirituality, extra things. All right. So kind of think about that when you think of Green Terra, is that you're not being left behind. Everyone is being brought, if you like it or not, kicking and screaming across that finish line. So, tap into, if you feel like you're sinking, you're drowning, just know the lifeline is there. All you have to do is just grab a hold of it, okay? Just grab it and you're there. Now we come into the south, which is number 3, is about family. Our immediate family. If you're your own family, it's about you and God. But it's the divine feminine to the divine masculine that comes to God's source, to love. That comes into the perfect triangle. And then your children that are involved, and how, you got, mother, father, child in the center, right? Because everything revolves around how we perceive God, how we serve God, how we give offerings to God, that actually we teach our children to do the same thing. We still give offerings, right? In the church, they give money. There's offerings of flowers when someone dies. There's offerings of flowers to ancestors, to cemeteries. We still give offerings. So don't forget to give offerings even today in your own home. Some of those offerings are the tree that we put up, because the tree is Queen Esther, because Queen Esther, she was Hadassah, the myrtle tree. And when you put in the right vowels, it means the light of God comes from afar, which is Isaiah, Jacob's seed, comes from afar. So without fear. So this is the time to release that fear, because we have more transformation that's going in 2020 that is going to be so impactful for many people. So into our 3 position is the 30 card that comes down to a 3. So we're getting a sinking, and this is Ma'at and truth. And the truth is constantly being exposed. And remember, when we talk about our feet is truth and where we stand. And so if your feet are hurting, you need to rub your feet and get past that mode, get past that, the pain and that fear that's residing in your feet, because you're afraid of truth. Maybe you've been bought into the lie. And just know that Ma'at is bringing out the truth. So you're not going to have the pain in your feet anymore. All right, so 5 is the goddess Athena, and she's the wisdom, but of knowledge in this card. So the wisdom that's coming out here, and this knowledge that is being brought to you, and it's being spoken, right? It's not just about being just written down. It's just, all these ideas and all of these just knowledge. This is like how else, education, everything that you have, what about family, and what about, being part of a family or part of a relationship that kind of scares you, is that you're getting this knowledge and how to approach it, and how to not sabotage yourself, or how to start fights. Now it's how to live with peace and harmony, right? Because a lot of us, we didn't learn how to do that. It's something that, you could be healed from, but then you have to take care of the behavior, because you can be healed, but your behavior tells it over and over and over and over that you still haven't learned anything, and that you're not making that change. And that change is physically in your brain, saying each and every day, I will not yell at my kids. I will not yell at my kids. I will not yell at my kids. And you do, what can I do to not yell at my kids? Okay, so so if pain is driving you to yell at your kids, then what's causing your pain, right? So that is a solution. So you come up with, what do I do to not yell at my kids? And then what is causing the pain, because the pain is making me angry and irritated and too attuned to noises that I yell, because they're not listening. All right, well, how do I get my kids to listen? Well, if I talk softly, then they'll have to be quieter to listen to me. See, and this is how it changes in behavior. So then when you talk to your kids, because now you're not yelling at them, but you're whispering so that your kids comes down in the noise, and your noise is not affected, into your pain, because you're taking essential oils, you're doing something, going into massage therapy, or somebody's rubbing your feet, so now you're not feeling the pain. See how that works? All right, so that's the knowledge that's coming to you. So you ask the questions and how to solve that, and that will bring you into how to change your behavior and live into that peace and harmony. Right? And then we have the goddess wisdom again. So it's like wisdom keeps coming through. So she's the number 35 card, which comes down into the 8. So it's like there's an abundance about this, because your kids, as they're growing up, they're going to remember. Trust me, the first 5 years, they're going to remember. I remember, when I was like a year and a half to 2 years old, I remember. And I remember a lot. There's some things I shut off during the time, but it's all been brought back to me. So it's like we have the wisdom and discernment when we grow up, and how we want to teach my children. So because loud noise irritated me, especially being very spiritual and an oracle and somebody who listened, very in tune to nature, that squealing of children just drive me nuts. My babysitting kids never did that, and here I have a 2-year-old, 18-month-old, who was screaming because it got stuck. And it's just like, okay, take a deep breath. Okay, get down to the level, got on my knees, and they're stuck in between this ottoman, and it's right in between the recliner and the ottoman, is in that little hole. And it's just, I got down to the knees, and I said, okay, can you hear mom? Can you understand mom? All right, got her down so she can understand. It's like, I cannot understand you when you're screeching, when you're yelling. And then I did it for her. Ah! I did it. Did you understand that? No, mom. Okay, so how do you think I understand you when you go, ah? So we kind of made it kind of fun. And then it's like, when you're stuck, I want you to say, help, mom, help. Can you see that? Help, mom, help. And I immediately took her and lifted her out. So see how that works? And she's like, yeah. And before she scrambled off, I put her right back in. I said, now what do you say? Help, mom, help. And I immediately took her out and put her into safety. So I wanted her to know that when she called my voice, when she called for help, that I would immediately come and help her if she talked into the language that I can understand. So then, no more screeching from then on. It brings me to tears, because I know there's a lot of people who don't have that understanding, and they get into, oh, I'm gonna whip that child. Well, you just make the noise more, and you're not helping the problem. You're not giving a solution that is learnable to not screech again. Okay, so all you did was make her screech more, or him screech more. So that this is the wisdom and discernment. And when I raised my children, because I did not spank them and I did not hit them, we did time out, but I sat with them, because if you leave them, they have more opportunities to go and not stay in their timeout chair. So, they're going to find ways to get out of it. But if I sat there with them, bring a book, bring a magazine, I'll look into the magazine while they're sitting in timeout. And it's like 30 seconds per age. So, if she was 1, it was 30 seconds. She could sit there for 30 seconds. Oh, good girl, good girl. And I encourage her for staying and staying so still during that time. I encouraged her and I thanked her for it, right? Because we want to be able, if there's a punishment, that there should be a celebration that they finished it, and they finished it with grace. All right, so that's something else, when people are out there in prison and they're coming back and they're being scoffed and condemned and judged. Well, hello, they already been through that. You're supposed to give them that celebration that they went through it and they did it with grace. And because that changes everything. Okay, so now we're coming into Danu, and Danu is assurance. She is the number 10 card. Danu is the goddess of Ireland, who took care of the Egypt remnant, who God scattered. God scattered the remnant. They a lot of them ended up with Ireland, and the goddess, she took care of them. She provided them shelter. She provided them food. She healed them. This is what we're supposed to do in our immediate family, is to make sure that they have the shelter, make sure that they have the food, that the children don't have to ask, where's my meal coming from, because they already know mommy and daddy are going to provide it, right? So when dad is out of a job and mommy has to work, well, then we say, thank you, mommy, for going to work. And we don't put down dad because he doesn't have a job, okay? Because as a family, we're to lift and, share. And we're supposed to, encourage. And when there's a shift, like in roles, we're not to condemn the other gender because they cannot provide. I'm going to be the provider in this house. So it's just like, I'm not going to put down the other person who is also still contributing to the house. Now, there's a difference if the man is not doing anything and just sitting down and just doing games all day. Okay, not doing dishes, not helping out with, the household, not, keeping the kids clean and making sure that they're having their meals while their mom is out working. No, they still have to do those things. And once they get those things done, then they can play. Right? We all need to know when to work and play. So there's got to be equality. There's got to be a help, because we are to be helpmeets or helpmates for each other. We're not to give the full load to one person or another. It's supposed to be equal amongst the parents. And we can divvy it down into the children so that they can learn how to take care of their home. Right? And then when they do that at home, guess what? They do that outside in the world, into school, and that's how they have their morals encompassing. A lot of us, we don't have that. I was raised with just a mom who was abusive to me. I had to learn all this stuff because I wanted to break cycles. I wanted to break the cycles because my grandmother was a single mom and very abusive to her children at one time. And so my mom was the same way, and I didn't want to do that with my children, and I broke that cycle. So coming in awareness of where you're coming from to bring where you want your children, to bring them into a better future. That is always our goal. Okay? There's no like, oh, you had it worse, or I had it worse, and it's like, who cares? You learn from it, you change it, you break cycles and make new ones that are better. Family. It's about family and love, right? Peace and harmony. Okay, so now we're going into the number 2. The 2 is about faith, right? Is the assurance and the trust and the believing that everything that we're doing, that, yeah, it's working. And yeah, we hope that it's going to keep working out. But it's not just letting go and just letting them do whatever they want. I mean, there's times that we're like, kind of like we sprinkle our wisdom. We don't just, this is everything. Because otherwise they're going to overload it. They're not going to remember. Unless you're listening to my YouTube and you're going to listen to it again, or you're listening to my reading on MP3 and you can listen to it again. Then they'll dump it on you and tell you to take it into small parts. So yeah, this is, the number 2 in the east side. When, trusting that mommy and daddy is taking care of us. Trusting the Father, God, mommy and daddy is taking care of us. And it says that when we honor God, that God will give us the long life. And when we become a servant of God, and the servant is not how we think of servants. Servants to God do not take crap from anyone. They're not a mat that people stomp on. When it talks about the bride of Christ, the bride is lifted up. The bride is his equal. So the church, the body, is also under the number 2. So we don't treat women like they're a welcome mat, that we could just stomp on them, wipe our feet, and keep going. Because Christ is uplifted, and I can't stand anyone who takes that scripture verse to treat that we're supposed to submit to our husbands and let them do whatever they want with us, because that's not what that interpretation is intended. What is intended is that equality of the bride has been lifted up into bridegroom. mother, father. We're to honor and obey mother and father. So if your husband or your spouse, your wife, is not a servant of God and they treat you like crap, you don't have to submit to them. So don't. I had to learn that the hard way, and I had to talk to several ministers in different churches, and I come to my own conclusion that if my husband is not worshiping God, not following his instruction, not doing what God has asked and required of him, that you no longer have to submit to that person. Okay? So do the evaluation of that family, because that is part of, looking at the bride and at the church. It's equal on both sides. Okay? Equality. We come into Morrigan. She's of death and magic. So the things that we learned about her is that there's cycles, right? I broke cycles. I broke cycles on how I raised my children. I broke how I respond to my children. I'm not just their friend. I am their mother. I am their wisdom. I will give them wisdom when it's, ready for them. I am not the controller. I'm not the whipper. I'm not, the imprisoner. I don't do that. I don't believe in control. I believe in, this beautiful freedom that we have. So there's times of death that we're coming into this magical time, right? The magical time, books such as Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and all those books is about the lost princess. It is really, really has another part of me that it really iterates, how we lost this woman and this bride, not just as a church, but the church resembled this person, this, Mary Magdalene's family who's been exiled, and how now is becoming more magical because we're seeing prophecies fulfilled that cannot just be fulfilled without someone actually doing the actions, in the last, 10 years. So it's really beautiful to see how magical it is. So kind of look around the things that, magic is real. It is. And you can see it every day. You can see it, in how we breathe and how, the earth and with all the planets and how everything is. It's magical. It's energetic. And, this is the time to really get into the magic of it all, because we're coming into Christmas and into Kwanzaa and into Hanukkah, into the lights and how we celebrate. We celebrate the tree, right? We adorn the tree, the myrtle, the Queen Esther, the light of God that comes from afar with no fear. And it's a magical time, and it's to be a magical time so that we all know that we're not alone. Our angels are working for these miracles so that we can walk into these blessings and that we get them, because hello, our fortune is on its way, right? So, magic is very real. So look into the magic of all. Look into the stories and the stories of Christmas. Why were they written? How were they written? Look at the numbers and symbols and look at the big picture. Don't look at it, into these little tiny microscopic things, because you're missing it. And I think that we have been missing it for a long time because we're looking at one little teeny tiny aspect out of humanity and the life of humanity. All right, so then we come into the number 20 card. She comes down to a 2. So we have another sync, Hera alliance. We had an alliance in our last reading as well. And this ally is, it's just like, if you feel alone for so long, it's like now you're having people who are recognizing you and they want to partner with you. They're not partnering with you because they want money from you, but because you have this knowledge, that you have something that's to share. You are giving them healing. You are, in some creative way, you are who they want to become. You are becoming their mentor. You are this leader, this teacher, that you are touching other people's lives. And that's who these alliances are coming from. It's not just a partnership in just business. I mean, this is partnerships who's going to support your family, who's supporting you that you never ever had before. And this ally is coming. It could be many allies. It could be very feminine allies. It could be just someone who's believing in you and trusting in you, because it's coming from the right side of their trust and their faith and their belief. So it's just like this ally is coming, and it's going to be uplifting and encouraging. I'm so excited for that, because it's like, finally, it's like, they're going to be fulfilling the promises. If there's people in the past that says, oh, I'm going to help you and never did, well, this ally who's coming will fulfill it. They will partner with you. They'll make a new contract, and they will see you through it all the way through. Okay, so this is the time if you're looking for someone to partner with you and helping you grow your YouTube. And I don't really feel that you had to put a lot of income, but hey, you have fortune that is coming. So this fortune it's equal on both sides. So it's like the energy that you're putting into this ally is the energy that you're going to be getting out of it, and your rewards. So I can really see that, and you're not going to go in debt over it. So finally, like, your debts are going to be paid. And then we have the number 4, and this is Artemis into focus. So this is, like the change in our focus and how we perceive things and how we look at things of our beliefs, right? Because now we got people who are backing us, and they're applauding our works. They're making comments, and they're like, yes, this is it. I found you. I love you. I mean, I'm getting that on my YouTube and on my social medias. And it's just like, the connections are being made. And so now we need to focus. Okay, what do we need to focus on? Where do our topics need to come from? How do we express ourselves? How to make it more creative? All of these things is focusing. But what is the main focus, right? The main focus is to get your message out, right? Is how my family is going to be supported from this. How is my animals going to be supported if I go on this journey of teaching people spirituality, or doing readings of different exotic places that I would love to go. So it's just what is your focus, and stay under your focus. And that's part of making the plans and making your manifesting. So you want to stay focused, because this, laser focus is like all eyes are on you, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I could go like 100 different ways, but you only want to go 2 or 3 ways. Okay, so you just maintain that focus, because it's amazing, and it's going to be wonderful. Okay, so we have the 33 Mama Kocha, which is about water. Right? Emotions really comes to the table when we talk about water. My name is Water, so I really had to learn about emotions and watch water for a long time. I watched oceans and during the storms, and how it can rage, and hurricanes and cyclones. I mean, everything about water, even like tornadoes who went over water and just sucked up all that water out of that lake. And how the lake went down, and how it affected wildlife and the fishing industry. So it's just like, water has so many different dimensions. When you're out fishing, especially on the islands, along the coast, is like, you never want to turn your back on water, because a wave can always come and drag you back out into water. There's zones that you don't want to go into, but then there's tides that take you out, and it's like how to swim parallel to get out of that. So it's knowing your bearings when you're in water, when you're fishing, when you're boating. Water, many dimensions. And then how water, it changes and evaporates, and it becomes clouds, and the clouds get so full, and then it starts to rain, and how it goes up the mountain, and then it really pours, but over the mountain it doesn't have anything, and then it's like desert, because nothing can ever live there. So how water is frozen and turned into snow. Water has so many dimensions, and to know where you are in your emotions of water, Where are you? Are you even keel? Or, like a little brook, just bubbling around, and it's just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, that wasn't good, but oh yeah, so it's just like, where you are. Or are you, just you, you're tipsing and topsing, these boats all around, and like nobody wants to go into the water for fear. And you hot water, you're gonna scald, and everyone that comes in. Or you just this perfect lukewarm water that reminds us of being in their mother's womb, and how comforting it is. So know where you are in your emotions, because there's a lot of emotions in water that is coming. Water is also a number 5, and number 5 is the dollar sign for the good fortune, and how it is, equal and on each other's side. So if you want this fortune to come in, to really get into that peace and harmony and to that joy, because the joy is going to keep bubbling stuff up. All right, it's going to keep bringing stuff up for you to get past the past, to release, so that you can bring healing, not just for you, but for everyone who is around you. All right, so I'm going to pull a clarity card, because I didn't pull a situation card, because I think the situation really did come to the table. There's a lot of different aspects, and wisdom and fortune and allies, and this is just the beginning to bring you into a bigger and brighter 2020. I can't wait to do the reading for 2020. I already know what it's going to be like. So it's kind of like finally. Finally. So overall, clarity. I said 44. 44 is angels are with you. They're all around you. You just have to tap into the energies of it. So we have a Sarwati, and she's about the mastery, right? Overall, it's about the mastery. It's about how you present yourself. Are you, like I said, are you cool and collected? Or are you going to be that kind of, the artist that explodes and nobody wants to be around you, but hey, you deliver a great performance? Kind of looking for people who could be whole and well-rounded people, that even off stage, that people want to be with you, right? People in general want to meet, and they want to connect, and that's the connection. So when you do your mastery and working on your craft, working on your art, your music, your sculptures, anything creative, making your movies, infographics, sky's the limits for photography and cinema. Sky's the limits for creativity. There's like unlimited. All things are possible. So when you work on that, and to get honed on that, all these aspects are going to come to the table. So keep working on it. Just do something creative. Creativity will bring more spiritual things that is coming to the surface. And we already see the good fortune and all these beautiful cards of timing, and we have illusion in there. Did we talk about illusion? Things that could be illusion, that is manifested into our reality. That the things that you thought is not as you thought, but better, or wasn't even part of it, and now it's so much better. So the mastery is continue to do your art projects, continue to share those things, you continue to be better at it, to be a better speaker, to keep learning your symbols and your numbers and your colors, and the seasons, and the where the sun is, and how it rotates into the settings of the moon. So yeah, sky's the limit. So mastery card is like really perfect into honing you into this beautiful season of miracles and blessings, and into the new year. So yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you for watching. Please leave those comments. I really enjoy that. If there's a topic that you want me to do a reading on, leave the topic below, and I will make sure to mention you in that video as well. Share, embed. I love you all. Thank you for being part of my family and subscribing and hitting the bell button so that you get all of my videos. And some of my videos, I'll be putting them into a premiere, so then we can watch them all together. So thank you, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.